I remember going to Hilliard, which is a decent sized show. I remember being at your show on the South Side, and those are where I started, and that's how I got a lot of my cards when I was younger to chase athletes. So like,
Welcome back to the business of ball cards, and I'm here with Brent from Shannon Sports Cards. How you doing, Brent?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me for sure.
Y- Oh yeah, thank you for doing it. I really appreciate it. So this YouTube thing that we do here, we're dropping them every couple of weeks, focused more on the business side, but I do like to get a background before we really get into that. So can you kind of give us an idea of how you got started as a collector and how you made that jump over to dealer?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing with me when I was younger, growing up, me and my dad just bonded through sports in general. He was never a big sports guy, but that's all I wanted to do growing up. I literally played every sport you could think of, busy all the time. But we would go to games. We'd go to Ohio State men's basketball. We'd go to Ohio State football. We'd go to the Columbus Clippers very religiously there, Reds, Indians and so many other different sports that we would go to. That's how we bonded. That's how my dad spent time with me. So like once we started doing that, I obviously started enjoying cards because the athletes that were on the field were also on the cards. We autograph chased for many years, probably about 15 to 20. And that was just how we bonded. We collected some autographs on cards, predominantly cards, some balls and photos and stuff like that, but mostly cards. So just my whole life been chasing autographs, playing with cards, collecting cards. And then as I got older and I started to understand I could sell these cards that I had. Really, the biggest thing is, like I told a couple other people on a podcast before, is I was chasing autographs and I would just buy the guys I couldn't get, right? Like LeBron was always a tough autograph in Cleveland. Curry was always a tough autograph. So I would just buy their autos and collect them because I was like, okay, I want them in my collection eventually. Like they're all time legends and I can't get them myself. So let's just buy them. And then near that COVID, like right before COVID, I started buying more and more of these people and different cards that I enjoyed collecting. And then I realized I could sell them at COVID when the market went crazy. So yeah, that just kind of sparked a fire. And then since then, it's just been buy, sell, flip, and repeat every day now. So
Yeah, no, that's really cool and very similar story for me. My dad was not into sports at all, didn't even watch sports, but for some reason, in the 90s for me, when it got real popular and everybody was collecting in the 90s, I got into collecting. My dad supported that hobby. That's how my dad and I bonded.
yeah,
And so also my dad always had like aspirations of, business owner, that sort of thing. So very young, I was flipping it out at the local flea markets and that sort of thing. So I guess I just wanted to know, now that you're out doing this regularly, hitting the big shows and everything, what are some of the main things you focus on picking up? Is there a certain price point, a certain kind of card, sport that you focus on?
yeah. So we're predominantly football. Like we'll buy big names, Otani, Judge. We'll buy those guys from the other sports, but we do a lot of football. Football is king, and there's no doubt about it, right? Football sells out of season, in season, and even when guys are hurt, people buy into them at that dip price. So it just always sells. Like I can't say the same for baseball and basketball. Like the basketball stars have sold for us recently pretty
Mhm.
consistently, right? Cooper Flag, LeBron, Michael Jordan, those guys sell every time, but not like football. Football is just different. And in my opinion, it's king of the market and it's the easiest stuff to move. So in my business aspect, we like I tell my guys all the time, like if it's liquid, we want it. Like we don't want something
Mhm.
forever. We want it for at the most 2 weeks and it's gone. So we try not to hold on to anything. Yeah, we miss out on some booms, right? There could be a $2,000 spike
Mhm.
on a player, they go crazy, but we also miss out
Mhm.
on a lot of tanks. So that's the
Mhm.
the type of give and take that you do in that market of buying liquid stuff and having liquidity in your business. But yeah, we travel all over, go to different states for shows, bigger shows, and just buy, sell, and trade. Like we don't have like a certain range per se. We'll buy
Mhm.
about anything. We buy dollar cards. We buy $2,000 cards. We buy $10,000 cards. What we think we can move is what we buy. So, but
Yeah.
recently, I've always just been. If you don't know my story and you haven't ever heard it, but I was huge on the case hit market and it was early, and I knew
Mhm.
downtowns and kabooms and stuff. I bought those super early. My story there is that's essentially it changed my life. Was buying those like when they were super down and nobody knew about them. I was clicking them on
Mhm.
eBay. I was clicking Josh Jacobs downtowns for $80 on eBay, and then the next one would pop up at 85 and 90. I would click it, and I would click them all the way up to like 120, 130. And it's because when we go to these shows, people will buy them, and that's one thing I've always
Yeah.
kept true to is just buying cool cards. And I think those are cool. Right, they have the city in the background. They might have cheese for like the Packers and all that stuff. So like they have cool things that for sports fans that collect like
Mhm.
the Bengals. They have a tiger in the background. So to me, that's cool. So buying cool cards has always been one of my things, and I try to do that consistently. And that's what those downtowns were giving us for a while. Obviously, that market has changed a ton, and you can't do the numbers I would like to do in those. But that's when we kind of just recently, probably last year, year and a half, we really went not really went out of that market, but we were so one dimensional for so long in the case hit market, and it just made so much sense to start buying different ranges. So to answer your questions, we buy anything from a dollar to 10,000, maybe even more. Just depends on what it is and what player. But yeah, we don't have like a market we go by. We have different options, right? If I'm buying at a show and I'm looking at someone's showcase, I'll
Mhm.
try to buy cheap cards to throw in my whatnot. I'll try to buy medium cards to throw in my showcase, and then I'll buy my larger end cards to, just hold on to or sell eventually in a showcase as well. So yeah, a bunch of different moving pieces here. But
Mhm.
I think we just kind of have a range for everything, and that's what's really helped us recently grow as we have. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said two things I definitely want to touch on. You said that, you're selling it. You're wanting to have it for like less than 2 weeks.
yeah.
In my primary business being the flipping of wax, sealed
Mhm.
boxes and stuff. That's how I have to be. You can't really sit there and regret, well, that box might have been, $200 more if I waited, another 3 months or whatever. You need to keep liquidity
Yeah.
in your business. You need to keep things moving, and you need to sell whenever they're buying. Whenever there's a profit to be made. For the most part, we're not hoarders. For the most part, if you have a business, you're not primarily an investor, you are a business owner, and you need to keep that liquidity. And also, I didn't realize that you were actually really early into that downtown market, so that was great. That was very insightful of you, and good to hear. That is awesome. So, you mentioned COVID very early here, and COVID is where, it gave me the ability to go full time doing this. I had just been part time prior to leading up right up to COVID. And then you talked about that market. This time around, this recent boom that we've had, it's also kind of involved Pokemon.
Yeah.
So, how have you decided to, I guess, not get into Pokemon? I'm assuming you really didn't. And how do you decide to just kind of stay in your lane, what to put your hand into and what not to?
Yeah, I'm a pretty safe player, and that's just how I've always been. I'm pretty safe. I like to see the money come in and come out and know what I'm getting into. With that being said, I just bought like a $2,000 Pokemon lot. I have no idea what I'm doing with it, so we'll find out if I've done well in that. But for the most part, you will probably never see me buy a Pokemon card. I just don't know the market enough, and I stay true to what I know. I know football a
Mhm.
ton. I know a little bit of basketball. I know a lot of baseball. So I stay true to those markets. I understand what works for me, and I keep going with that. I'm not the one to take a shot in the dark on a prospect like on a Bowman Chrome prospect for $3,000 of some guy that's 18 years old. That's just not me. And I'm pretty like I said, I'm pretty safe. I play the safe game, and I just stay out of the Pokemon. I think it's crazy what it's done. It's the market is better than sports at times.
Mhm.
But it's just a game I'm not willing to play. Like I said, liquidity, and if I don't think it's liquid, I ain't buying it. So yeah, I've just kind of stayed my grounds and trust myself and know what I do. And that's, again, that's why I think we've been successful. I don't like to dive into just anything and have no idea what's going on. So doing what I know best is what I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, exactly how I've built what I've built, how I've been able to do it for a living is, I'm playing hit the single
Yep.
regularly, time and time again, occasional double. I'm not going
Yep.
up there swinging for the fences, and I like that way too. I play it very safe. So no, recently I've even noticed that you've kind of stepped it up on social media.
Yep.
And I've been seeing more of your stuff drop. I think you've embraced it a little bit more recently. And there's people all over the place. I interviewed a guy probably a month ago who has a very successful shop in Indiana, and I don't know if he's ever even made an Instagram post, to be completely honest. And then you have the other extremes where people are the goal is to be monetized, like on YouTube, that sort of thing, which they just updated that and changed that and made that harder very recently. So I'm kind of wanting to know from your side of it, how important is the social media to your business? How important do you think it might be for anybody just trying to get started? And do you see monetization as the main focus, or is it marketing for you mostly?
Yeah, when I started YouTube, I had no aspirations of what it's went to, right? We're over 5,000 subs now. We get paid pretty regularly each month. Like that's huge. It's awesome. It adds to what we're able to do, and it allows me to keep money into the cards instead of paying my videographer something else. So he obviously takes a lot of that, but uh, yeah, it for me it's marketing, right? Like for me, it gets my name out there, it puts my face out there. People know who I am because of it. Um,
Mhm.
we went from probably 200 subs the first 3 months to 5,000 in 2 years. So it's grown a ton, and
Awesome.
that's just on YouTube. We have other ones, right?
Mhm.
Our TikTok's up to 4,000. Just many different places that we're able to put my face and show people we buy cards, right? Like, yeah, it's fun when people recognize you and kids want to take pictures with you. That stuff's awesome. But what it
Yeah.
really does for our business is it keeps the cards coming, and that's what we win. That was the whole plan behind it. I never wanted to be YouTube famous, and never had any aspirations of that. But uh, the fact that it allows me to buy and sell and make connections way more than I ever have been,
Mhm.
it's huge. And again, we have people that I've never seen that know who I am. So when they see me at a show, they encounter me with cards that I can buy, and
Mhm.
it kind of actually helps. It hurts and helps. People know what I buy and people know how much I pay. So like that stuff definitely hurts, but the amount that we need to bring in, we run, like I said, we run 1,000 cards a week on Whatnot. So to get that many, you have to have connections. There's not enough shows and not enough cards to go around for me to hit 1,000 cards a week if I don't have those
Mhm.
connections. So just being able to have my face out there, people know who I am. People know my social media. If they want to sell to me, they reach out to me and sell. That's pretty regularly now. But for us, yeah, it wasn't about the monetization. It's more like the ability to buy more and have that out there. It helps our business a ton. Like I said, bringing in 1,000 plus cards a week is not easy by any means. So having those
Mhm.
unlimited resources of people reaching out and selling to us, people recognizing us on TV, and then seeing us at shows and come right up to us. Hey, watch all your videos. I know you buy this stuff. Here you go. Work a deal. That is the best
Mhm.
part about it. 1,000% is
Yeah.
just being able to keep that business rolling with the cards. Like I
Mhm.
said, the payment from YouTube's awesome. It pays for my videographer, but other than that, I use it more so branding and everything else like that more than it is pay.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a good thing, for sure. All kinds of business books that you could read would tell you one of the main things are people want to do business with people that they know. And social media gives you that opportunity for people to feel like they know you, even if they don't know you really well. I'd mentioned the guy before that's never made a post on Instagram. I know in a couple weeks I'm interviewing another guy that's done 21 years at the National. And social media doesn't have a big part of his business either. But if you were the average 30, 35-year-old guy out there, how important would you think it would be for them if they're starting out to get involved in social media?
Yeah. So one of the things I've always said is the best content is the one that's posted. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter 35, 20 years old, 15 years old, 10 years old, 50 years old, anything posted is going to work, right? People are going to see. So once more and more people like your video, the more it's going to get thrown out on social media for other people to see. You never know. You might reach the right person, the one person that watched it. They might reach out or send it to a buddy. Now your buddy's watching it, and now you're on their For You page. So it's huge. Social media in this type of business is so massive. Like it's opened so many doors for me. It's opened opportunity to work full time at this. Like I think social media, and it's just getting started, right? Like you see more and more people trying it because they see the success of the people that have done it, and that's the hard part, right? Like you see the success, you're like, oh, that's pretty easy, I can do that. It's a lot harder than you think. Just throwing out some social media posts, you got to hit the right targets, you got to post at the right time, you have to have the right editor, you have to have like, and I say this time and time again, one of my best friends is my videographer, and he 100% makes me look better than I am every time, and I appreciate that. But that is so important to have that social media out there, to have a person like that to post it for you, to understand it, to know when to post. Like a lot of people think it's just posting. No, you got to post at the right time. Like 6 p.m. on a normal day is a good post because most people are what? They're coming home from work. They're starting to look at their phone and so
Mhm,
forth. You post it at 7 a.m. There's not
mhm.
too many people up, or you post it at 11. Some people are on their lunch, but you're going to miss out on a lot of that crowd because they're still working. So knowing when to post, knowing how to post, going towards the right targets, the right crowds is
Mhm,
so important, and it only grows your business. And that's
mhm,
one thing when I first started, I would refuse to post some things. And I've learned that the best thing to do is just post it. It's not gonna be your best work. It's not gonna do any of that. But
mhm,
just starting, just posting is the step in the
mhm.
right direction in terms of that.
Yeah, some people actually obsess about perfection, and
That's
some of my biggest video yeah, and some of my biggest videos is where I got tongue-tied. It's stepped
yeah,
over a word, mispronounced something, or something, and, just went with it because we're real people. I think
right.
people see real people, not
Yeah.
perfection all the time. So you
100%.
mentioned it, it's given you the ability to go full-time. So can you tell us a little bit about that decision, how hard that was, and how recent has that been for you, that decision to go full time?
Yeah, a few months ago was when I really decided. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go for this. I was a teacher before this, so obviously summers were easy for me because I was just working full time as working the cards and still having that safety net underneath of me as a teacher. Um, but once we started hitting numbers and our business was growing, I think we're already at 20 plus thousand people and whatnot. It's like that grew pretty quick. The YouTube's grown pretty quick. The online presence on Instagram's grown pretty quick. Our show, going to most shows in Ohio plus other ones in other states, has grown really quick. A lot of that has adapted due to this YouTube and due to social media and stuff like that. But to get to the point where I was like, okay, this is it. The numbers just made sense, right? Like I've done it for long enough. I've done both, right? I've taught for so long. I've taught for 8 years, and the money made sense to make that jump. And I wasn't given my full go. I've always looked back each year on cards and was like, okay, I wonder what I could do if I went full time. Like I know the
Mhm,
volume we were doing as a working, doing half
mhm,
teaching, half cards, and then sometimes I wouldn't be able to do cards because I was so busy at actual work. And then I was like,
mhm,
I think I can make this a lot better if I put my full effort into it. And that was when it really was like, okay, let's try this. Teaching will be there. You're always going to need teachers. So I just took the leap of faith, and it's been very successful so far. But it's all determined based off the work you put in, right? Like I put in a ton of work. So and it wasn't just now; it's been 6 years. So a ton of work that 6 years, and then really poured it on recently to make sure it was worth it. And
mhm,
yeah, that leap of faith was definitely difficult. It's there's no safety net. Your bills are coming out of that account that you've been selling and buying, and just been able to invest all
mhm,
of it back in. That's not a thing anymore. Like I lose a couple of $1,000s for my bills every month, and I got to continuously pour into this side of it to make sure it also pours into the business. So yeah, it was
yeah,
definitely not easy. It was something I would advise most people is to try it before and kind of balance
mhm,
both and work just as hard at both. And then once you think you're ready to make
mhm.
that decision, to really jump for it. But yeah, it was difficult decision to make for sure.
Yeah, and so many business books would tell you, to just try it as a moonlighting thing
Yeah,
first, do it, outside of your day job. And I know for me, I kept a job, a part-time job at least, for years and years as it built. But, social media does have the ability to kind of throw things into overdrive a little bit
yeah,
and that sort of thing. But yeah, absolutely, it's awesome that you're able to do that. So you kind of mentioned shows. So it's really weird is you did the Circleville show, the Circleville Card Convention,
yeah,
and you were set up there and walked around buying. It's a 115 table show, which to me is an okay sized show,
yeah,
but the very next weekend you're out at Shipshawana. So
yeah.
how do you decide like what's worth your time driving to, even as a buyer, versus where you're setting up versus those sort of things? Is that a difficult decision for you?
It was when I had a job outside of this, just because it was like, okay, I'll just prepare for the week of work week. But now it's like my back's against the wall. Like I said, my bills are coming out,
Hmm.
and that doesn't stop the card shows. So like, there's a show every weekend somewhere. I'm usually at one at least, and like I don't always bring the camera crew. Don't always need my videographer.
Yeah.
That's not how that always works, unfortunately. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
but yeah, it doesn't stop. Like I have to go to a show every week because no matter what that show is, like the big show, I land a lot of the bigger showcase stuff and land some cool deals that are great for social media and look awesome. But those lower end shows, right? Like there's like a 30 table show near my house one time. I went to it and bought a ton of
Mhm,
whatnot stuff. So it just different parts of my business hit from different shows, and I
mhm,
don't take any of them for lesser than the other. I'm never too big for any show, and that's something I've always pride myself in. I'm never too big. Doesn't
mhm,
matter if the camera's in front of me or not. Uh, I
mhm,
remember where I started. I remember going to Hilliard, which is a decent sized show. I remember
mhm,
being at your show on the South Side, and
mhm.
those are where I started, and that's how I got a lot of my cards when I was younger to chase athletes. So like I still go to those shows. It means more to me to just go to them because that's where I started, and kind of pulls me back down to reality sometimes. And it's like, hey, this is where you started. This is what you were doing. Continue to do it. It doesn't change whether you have a six-figure year or a four-figure year. It just
Mhm,
doesn't change who I am, and our business runs through any different aspect of whatever type of show is offering. The Circleville show picked up a lot of cool showcase stuff. We sold a big downtown. We sold a $5,000 downtown. I didn't expect to sell that there. Sold that, and then we also bought probably 300 and 400 cards for the Whatnot channel. So yeah,
that's
every
good.
show hits something different for us. So going to each
Mhm,
show matters to us still. So if it's a 30 table show in my backyard, I'm going to go to it. If it's a 5,000 table show in Nevada, I'll be there. Like it just doesn't matter.
yeah,
I could use any type of really cards to bring in. So yeah, it doesn't really matter now. I just go to all of them.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. So I'll ask you one last question here, I guess, before I let you go. So many people in this industry are, kind of predicting a downturn. They're saying winter is coming. That's a phrase I've heard and even put out there myself on a couple social media posts. And they seem like they were predicting it, and the exact opposite kind of happened through the summer.
Yeah.
Are you concerned that there's a downturn coming and a market correction, or do you feel like you've hedged yourself, kind of hedged your bets, so to speak, so that you'll be okay no matter what takes place?
Yeah, I think that's a question I hear about a lot. I truly think the hobby has evolved so much. Like there's so many kids in this hobby. There are so many families in this hobby. There are so many people that are like myself and you that trust this hobby to pay our bills. I think there's
Mhm,
so much of that, and there's such a good evolvement around all of that that I don't think there might be a correction, right? Like Christmas time is always tough on a lot of families, right? You're trying to buy Christmas, right?
mhm,
You're trying to spend time with family. Like there's definitely down parts of this, but to think
mhm,
it's going to dip, I don't think so. I think it's just evolving, right? Like I think you could see some crazy high end prices come down for sure. That's what it always happens at Christmas, but I don't think it's ever going to slow down in terms of where it was in previous times where we're like, oh man, the market's way down. I just can't see that, especially on my side of the business. My side of the business is a lot of that transactions in between $5 and $100. Most people walking around
mhm,
shows have $5 to $100. Like that business part
mhm,
don't stop. I think could you see the guys spending $200,000 on cards slow down for sure? That's just a part of that time of the year, and money comes by in December as that. So I don't think so. I don't. I just think it's evolved so much, right? There are so many kids. When I first started, it was like you would go to a show and it's like 20 plus year olds. Like that's all that was there.
yeah,
Now you're
yeah,
seeing 6 and 7 years old and 8 year olds like pretty
mhm,
consistently, just matched with the older guys in the room. So like
mhm,
it's evolved so much that I don't ever really worry about it like that. On top of like you start putting in some of these bigger brands, right? Tom Brady literally has whatever
mhm,
he wants in life and he's choosing to invest in sports cards. So like
yes,
to me, like
yeah,
those big names jumping in, it gives me that safety. I feel like I need to know that this thing ain't going nowhere. And again, Fanatics, one of the biggest companies in the world, buys over tops, and
mhm,
now they're in it. Like, so
mhm,
I don't ever worry about that. I think it's evolved more than it's gone to I guess drop or go down. And again, like I said, it doesn't matter what market you're in. Everything dips at
mhm,
Christmas time because everyone wants to spend money on their family and kids and presents for their significant others. But I think it's evolved so much to the point where you have that market for who knows how long. I hope forever, obviously. But for the near future, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think there's much to worry about.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with you, and you said that really well. Um, so definitely I want to give you a chance to just throw out, any of your social media, any place, they can catch you. Is if there's a show in the area that you're going to be at, you want to mention, feel free to do that.
Yeah, I
Anything
mean,
coming up for you?
we're almost at all Central Ohio shows, right? Columbus Card Fest. We're at both of your shows, Circleville and South. Yeah,
Yeah,
South.
Southway American Legion. Yep.
Uh, we're there.
You
We're at
did.
a lot of them.
Yeah, you did pretty well at Chillicothe too, at the
Chillicothe
Chillicothe one at the
hit
fairgrounds.
a
That one's coming
massive
up.
one, hit a
Yep.
massive one there. We've done really well at the other Chillicothe one, the one at OU
Hmm.
campus. We've done really well there. Um, we're at almost any show that is in the Midwest, whether it's small or large. So, yeah, if you catch us
Hmm.
there, come say hi. And then if you want to reach out, obviously, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all those, you'll just see the double S, the Shannon sports cards, and that's how you'll find us there. So, yeah, it's a fun time to be in it, and I'm excited to see what it does do, right? Because none of us know. Like we're just all waiting to see what
Yes.
happens. So it'll be exciting to
Yeah.
see what does happen moving into 2027.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you're extremely busy, and I appreciate you taking the time to be on this little podcast
Yeah,
here,
no worries.
and
Of course.
I appreciate it.